So today I'm going to be doing my first impression on the Becca Ultimate Coverage Complexion Cream Foundation. I just picked this up last week at Sephora, and so I thought I would do a little first impression review and let you guys know what I think. So this foundation is described to be, I'm just going to read what's on the box. It says, a foundation redefined, ultimate coverage in a surprisingly weightless and breathable cream, a perfectly balanced distribution of pigment and water at uniquely high concentrations, allows the formula to adapt to all skin types. Lightweight and oil-free, it creates a second skin effect of undetectable, flexible coverage with a natural, long-wearing finish. 21% pigment ensures that uneven texture, redness, hyperpigmentation, and other imperfections are completely concealed. 22% water adds hydration and an elastic finish to prevent pigments from setting in lines, dryness, or pores. What drew me to this foundation when I was at Sephora was I saw that it was a full coverage foundation, which you guys know that I like, so I thought I would give it a try, and I've heard great things about Becca Complexion products. Believe it or not, this is actually my first Becca product to try, so I'm very excited about it. But anyhow, it comes in a little pump container like this, which I really like. I like that it already has a pump built into it. I'm not a fan of foundations that don't have a pump, you know, that have kind of the old school, you got to use your finger and kind of, I just really like the pump. It just makes it so much easier, and it also controls the amount that you pump out. I feel like other foundations that don't have a pump, you tend to use more than you need. So kudos for that. In terms of size, it is just over a 1 fluid ounce, which I think is pretty standard. It retails for $44 at Sephora, so it's definitely kind of on the higher end of foundations. But it says, the girl at Sephora told me that a little bit goes a long way, so she said just one pump is all you need, so I'm going to give that a try. I'm going to use my beauty blender to apply it. It definitely, when I'm working with full coverage foundations, I like the beauty blender because I feel like it kind of shears it out. I like a full coverage, but of course I don't like to look like I have a mask on my face, and sometimes when I use certain brushes, I feel like it doesn't, I just like the way the beauty blender works. A damp beauty blender is going to help absorb any excess product that you have, and it just really kind of presses and buffs it into the skin so it looks more like your skin. So that's what I'm going to use. And what else can I say? I'm not going to use my primer with this. You know, I use the Benefit 15-Hour Stay Flawless primer, which I love, but what I'm noticing is that I love it more with like more sheer to medium luminous foundations. When I use it with a thicker full coverage foundation, I feel like it just makes it look too heavy. If you haven't tried that primer, it's great. Your foundation lasts forever with it, but it definitely changes the payoff of the foundation, and it definitely kind of tweaks the it kind of gives it a little bit more full coverage. That foundation is almost like a glue stick. If you've ever seen me apply it or you've ever used it, it looks like a glue stick, and you literally just kind of swipe it on your face. And I find that when I use a full coverage foundation with that, when I apply the full coverage, it just like sticks to it and dries super fast. And I like to have a little bit more time to work with full coverage foundation. So I'm not going to use a primer. Plus this guy says that it lasts 24 hours or something crazy like that. So I shouldn't really need a primer, right? So I'm going to go ahead and apply this, and then I'm going to do the rest of my makeup, and then I'll come back later on today and show you guys what I think. So right now it is 10:04. I don't know if you can see that on my phone, but it's 10:04 a.m. And we'll just go ahead and get started. So like I said, I'm just going to use one pump. Wow, and one pump is actually quite a bit of this. And I am going to just go straight from my hand to my face with this, rather than use my finger to apply it on my face and then blend it out with my beauty blender. I chose a shade that was a teeny bit, it kind of matches more the color of my face, which typically, you know, my face is a lot lighter than the rest of my body. But because this is a full coverage heavy foundation, I didn't want to go too dark and have a line. So I figured I would just I would match my face, and then I would use bronzer to give the color back to my skin. So I like it so far. I do feel like a little bitty layer is not really heavy or full coverage. I feel like it's kind of buildable. I do have my brows on, but that's the only makeup that I have on. I don't have any concealer or anything like that. I just have skincare and brows. applying it this way too, going from your hand and using the beauty blender to apply it directly to your face, I feel like it's going to sheer it out a little bit more than going and putting it all over your face and then coming back. But you will go through more product, so because the beauty blender does absorb some of it, so you have to realize you're going to kind of waste a little bit more product, but it's going to have a more sheer application. I like this so far. It's giving good coverage. It does look like skin when I've applied it with this and no primer. Okay, so I'm feeling like I need a little bit more. I'm feeling like one pump wasn't, there's my daughter. I'm feeling like one pump wasn't enough. But again, I bet if I had just gone with my finger and kind of applied it all over, I would have gotten more mileage out of that pump. So I'm gonna use a half a pump now. And I'm just gonna kind of go, so I've covered most of my face. I'm just gonna go in the little areas that I want a little bit more coverage, which is typically the center of the face. Most of us have blemishes or discoloration right in the center of our face. So that's where I like to focus more product. Also, you know, the more product that you apply on the perimeter of your face, the more likelihood you have of having that line, that harsh line. So we're gonna avoid that. Okay, so I really like this. I feel like it does look like skin. It doesn't feel heavy at all, and it gives good coverage. So it feels great. It doesn't have a smell to it really. Feels great. I like the coverage and I like the finish. I'm gonna apply a little concealer and then I will do the rest of my makeup and come back and we will check it out after it's worn throughout the day. It is rainy here in Austin today. It's really cold, so it's not humid, but it is really rainy and I am gonna get out and run some errands, so we'll see. Okay, so I'm just using MAC Pro Longwear concealer and I'm just gonna go under my eyes. Okay, I'm really liking this foundation. As it's drying and setting, I'm really liking it. Wow, on camera I look really pale. All right. Okay, so my foundation and concealer are on. I'm going to do the rest of my makeup off camera and then I'll come right back. Okay, so I'm back. I've done my whole makeup. So I did set it with a little bit of MAC at Prep and Prime's setting powder, and I used contour and highlight from Anastasia Beverly Hills. But aside from that, I'm not going to touch up throughout the day. So regardless of how shiny I get, I'm just going to leave it alone, and I'm going to come back later on today and let you guys know the final result. So now it is 10:24 a.m. And I'll be back later today to check in with you. Thanks, guys. Okay, so right now it's just after 3:30. I think it's 3:45 exactly on the dot. So I've been wearing the foundation for just over 5 hours, and I've gotten out of the house to run a few errands. Now I'm back home. I did change my clothes because it's cozy and a comfy day at home. But just to give you kind of a little quick review of where we're at right now in terms of the foundation, it's definitely due for a touch-up. Like I said, I haven't touched up at all. I'm not going to add any powder throughout the day because I really want to see how this foundation is going to wear and stand on its own. But if I weren't doing this review, I definitely would be touching up by now, if not already. I also noticed that it kind of settles in my expression lines a little bit. Nothing really noticeable, but since I'm doing the video and I'm looking for this, I can see it. Like when I kind of make this you know, this expression with your brows, I can see that it's settled in between there. It's also settled a little bit in the lines on my forehead. Not bad, and I think if I would have touched up, it would have been fine and it wouldn't have moved, but because I didn't, it is moving into those lines. It's also shiny right here on my forehead. It's shiny right around my nose area. I did use a highlighter here, so I'm not going to kind of count this shine as the foundation. I'm going to go with this being more of the highlighter that I used. But the coverage is still really well. It's still in place. It doesn't look like it's fading off. Yeah, I think that's all there is to say about it right now. So it's been just over 5 hours. I'm going to come back around 8:30 tonight and see where we're at. So I will see you guys soon. It's just after 8 p.m., which means I've had the foundation on for around 10 hours. I think 10:25-ish this morning is when I had finished all my makeup, so let's just go with 10 a.m. So 10 hours, and I've got to say it's pretty great. It's held up really, really well. I definitely would have needed to touch up at least once today, if not twice. But like I said, I didn't touch up at all today, so this is the final kind of finish after 10 hours of wearing. My eyeshadow is definitely in need of some touch up, and my blush is kind of no longer really there, but the foundation overall is pretty good. It's a little shiny. I haven't really noticed it. Let me open this up and take a closer look. But so earlier I did say that I noticed it was kind of settling in the fine lines around my face, and I actually expected it to get worse from when I shot this afternoon until today, but it really hasn't. It hasn't gotten any worse. So I would say it looks as good as it did around 3-ish when I shot. The only difference is that it's a little bit more shiny and in need of a touching up powder. So overall, I would say that I do like this foundation a lot. It's definitely one that you will need to touch up with though, depending on your skin type. I have pretty normal skin. It's not really dry and it's not really oily. So if you're more of an oily skin type, then you would definitely need to touch up throughout the day. If you're dry, you may not. But for normal skin, I would imagine normal to oily, you're definitely gonna need to touch up 1 to 2, maybe 3 times a day. But the coverage is great. It's still on. It doesn't feel like it's fading at all. So yeah, I'm a fan of this foundation. I really like it. I think for pretty full coverage, it does look pretty natural. Again, that's applied with a beauty blender, a damp beauty blender, and no primer. I haven't yet tried this with my Benefit Stay Flawless primer, but I have a feeling that if I were to, it would give more of a matte, heavier finish. I will try that and see what I think, but overall, I'm gonna say that I do recommend this foundation, and this is one that I will keep in my drawer and continue to use. So I hope you guys found this review and first impression helpful, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you for watching.